In this video, I take you through my worst to first of all of the Star Wars, the Vintage Collection, Clone Wars, figures and card backs. Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And as I mentioned in the intro, in this video I'm going to be taking you through my worst to first of the Star Wars, the Vintage Collection from the Clone Wars. Now, I wouldn't have been able to make this video 6 months ago because we only really had maybe 5 or 6 card backs from the Clone Wars. Now we have 15 because in the last few months, last few waves, we've got absolutely loads of them, which I love because I love the Clone Wars. Now, just for your reference, I'm not going to be including any of the Gendy Clone Wars figures. All of these are going to be from the Dave Filoni series. So if you do happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like down below. And also, I'd love to know your opinions, so let me know in the comment section below if you agree with my choices, and also maybe just drop down your top 5 that you happen to like from the Clone Wars. Maybe that'll be a bit easier, I don't know. But we're going to get straight onto it. So in 15th place, I've gone for Clone Commander Wolf. Now, why have I gone for this one? It's mainly to do with the figure, really. The figure is a poor sculpt. It shares the same sculpt as Captain Rex. It's not a great sculpt. The only real good thing that this figure has going for it is I do believe it is the first time that we got that awesome new head sculpt that's been used on lots of different figures. It's been used on all of the ARC Troopers and the new 501st and things like that. But this one's Clone Commander Wolf. He has the scar going down his eye. It's a really nice head sculpt, but that is about it. And the card back's okay. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on having this one in last place, but it is really to do with the figure because essentially I just believe that they could have done a whole lot better with that figure, and that's why he's in 15th place. Moving on to 14th place, we have Captain Rex, and basically the same reasons as the Wolf figure really. The sculpt isn't great. We've had much better ever since. And there was a big hoo-ha when they released this figure into the Vintage Collection. It's repacked from the 3.75 inch Black Series. The helmet's too small, the articulation is pretty poor. What really makes this figure is the card back. It looks great. You know, I love the pose of Rex there, and I'm loving the colours and everything. But because of the figure, that's why he's so low down. So as with all of these videos, I sort of rank them on how I feel about the figure and the card back. I'm a both carded and opener, so I like to have an opinion on both, and so I'm looking at the whole package here. So for me, Captain Rex, unlucky mate, you're in 14th place. Now, this might be the first choice that I have that causes a little bit of controversy between everybody, but basically for me in 13th place is the ARC Trooper Jesse. The reason being is the card back, essentially. There's lots of things going on with this card back that I don't like. I don't like the fact that he's got the helmet on that image with a tattoo on the head like that. You would really want a decent image of him, very much like they did with Fives. They've made the card back a sort of animated style, but the worst thing about it, and I made a whole video about this when I reviewed this figure, is that they've made the name pill and the panel behind the figure like a bright yellow, and it doesn't fit in with the other 2 ARC Troopers which came in that set. And I just thought that was a bit weird. The least they could have done is just make all 3 of those match, and this one's the odd one out. So sorry Jesse, you're in 13th place. And in 12th place we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, which just shows you how difficult this is to whittle it down, because the figure's not bad on this one. The card back is great. I love the gunships in the background. I love the clones and everything, the big battle going on. I do have a slight issue with the whole sort of realistic head of Ewan McGregor on an animated body. They've done it pretty well, but it's just a little bit jarring for me. It looks a bit odd. And if you look at all of the other Vintage Collection card backs that we have, this one and the Anakin one sort of stick out a little bit in my opinion. I think they've also tried to do it with Fives as well, but for me this one was a bit odd. Still a great card back, still a great figure, but he is in 12th place. This one might shock some people, but I've gone for Ahsoka in 11th place, and to be brutally honest, I've never actually really liked this card back. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's vibrant, it's green. I've never really liked that interpretation of Ahsoka on the card back, and also the figure isn't too great either, especially when you compare it to some of the other Ahsokas that we've got most recently. But the card back for me, I don't know, it always reminded me of something from Thundercats. Is it Chitara or something like that? I always felt that it looked a bit like that. I don't know, it's like this woman in the jungle, or maybe something from Avatar or something. For me, it was just a weird interpretation of Ahsoka, in my opinion. But again, it is just my opinion. So there you go. Ahsoka, sorry, you're in 11th place. In 10th place, I've gone for ARC Trooper Echo. Don't get me wrong, great figure. Love these ARC Troopers. But for me, the card back is the weakest of the 3. in terms of the image anyway. And once again, I think they could have kept them the same in terms of like having them all with the helmets off. The figure's got the helmet off, so why not have the image with the helmet off. I don't know, it's just a nitpick really, but we are getting into the nitpicky area now because all of these from now on are pretty decent card backs and figures. But sorry Echo, you are in 10th place. In 9th place I've gone for Anakin Skywalker, and very much like the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure, I'm just not a huge fan of these sort of realistic interpretations of the characters on the card backs there for a animated character. However, I do like it when they make the figure a realistic interpretation of the animated character, but that's just the way I feel about it. So this one for me is in 9th place, middle to low end of the scale. So it's, you know, a pretty decent figure, but the head sculpt is awful on this figure in my opinion. They really need to sort out Anakin Skywalker from the Revenge of the Sith era with his longer hair or whatever. I don't really think we've got a sort of spot-on version of Hayden Christensen from that time period. But there you go, Anakin Skywalker, you're in 9th place. In 8th place I've gone for ARC Trooper 5s, and it really does pain me to only put one of the ARC Troopers in 8th place because they are great figures. They really are, full of detail and everything, really nice figures. But this one is probably the best out of the 3 for me, and it just shows you the strength of the figures that are to come in the list that are going to be better than this one. Once again, they have gone for that sort of realistic interpretation with Tamura Morrison there on the head of a animated clone. It looks like a complete drawing, doesn't it? It looks okay. As I say, it's the best of the 3, but it's still not blowing my mind. When I think of these ARC Troopers, I always go back to that 3-pack. That's, in my opinion, how they looked the best in that 3-pack. The cards, I think they could have done a better job with them, but there you go. So there you go then. That's ARC Trooper 5s in 8th place. In 7th place, I've gone for the 332nd Ahsoka's Clone Trooper. And I love the concept of these guys. I loved them in the final series of the Clone Wars. I thought it was brilliant. Those episodes were just so good. And I couldn't wait for this figure to come out, to be honest. And the only thing that really annoys me a little bit about it is that it is on that skinny clone with the oversized helmet. I think with the paint job on the helmet, it sort of underplays the size of the helmet, which is a good thing, I guess. And the card back image is just okay. I think, you know, they probably could have found something better, but there you go. He's front and center. You can see the 332nd Ahsoka's Clone Trooper clear as day on that card back. And yes, mine does have the Ring of Death that we're seeing quite a lot on these thicker card stocks. You can see there where the bubble has made a mark on the card back, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, pleased to have him in the line finally. You know, we're going to be getting a new Clone Trooper next year, and it would have been nice to, you know, have this guy in that new sculpt. We'll have to see what that new sculpt's like, obviously, but yeah, there you go. In 6th place, I've gone for the 501st Legion Clone Trooper. These are my favourite Legion, absolutely awesome. I'm loving the card back on this one, even though it is very animated style. I'm just loving all the blue that's going on in the background and everything. Reminds me a little bit of the new Kenobi card as well, with those blues in the background. But once again, similar to the 332nd Trooper, I wish, you know, maybe they'd waited until we'd got that new sculpt, because the 501st Legion is huge for me. I would love to have them on a better figure. As I've mentioned lots of times before, we've got the skinny clone with the oversized helmet. It's a repack of VC60, except for they've given him the new head, that new clone head, which is awesome. It really is really good. But the card back for this one makes this one. I'm glad they updated it from the VC60 and changed it. And yeah, this one just looks great on the wall. Okay then, so we're in the top 5 now of the worst first for the Clone Wars card backs and figures. And in 5th place, I've gone for the Mandalorian Super Commando Captain, one of the newest figures that we've got. And it's a brilliant figure. The articulation is out of this world. The paint apps are great. The look of him is brilliant. I know some people don't like the horns and everything, but I think he looks cool. And once again, I love the Clone Wars, and this just looks great. And these Mandalorians that we've been getting recently are just next level in terms of articulation. You can get them into all sorts of decent poses, and they just look great. And to have all of the different ones to make your own battle, and the heroes and villains, you know, it's quite rare in the vintage collection where you pretty much get everything that you need from one sort of scene, and this is the case with this guy. So awesome figure. Card back is on the dodgy side ever so slightly. I thought the photoshopped image of him there looked a bit dodgy, especially around the helmet here. It almost looks like they've just plonked on the head on top of that body. So I think they could have done a better job with the card back, but the figure itself is brilliant. Check out my review. It's just an awesome figure. So he's in 5th place. Okay then, so this is getting really, really difficult now. So in 4th place, I've gone for the Mandalorian Super Commando. I prefer this one to the Captain. This one's the army builder, basically. You want lots of this one. And I love the card back. The colours there, you've got those turquoises, the light shining off the weapon. It's just a brilliant image and it looks great. Especially with that green on the name pill and behind the figure, really, really does make him pop. I know we say that a lot, but this one it does. He like pops off the card. It is fantastic. And also, once again, it uses the same mould as the Super Commando Captain, so it's got all the articulation. Just a really, really glorious figure and card back combo. So really happy with this one. Great to have it in the line, and he's in 4th place. In 3rd place, I've gone for the Mandalorian Death Watch Airborne Trooper, one of the newer figures once again, and this one is the best of the bunch of those new figures in terms of the Mandalorians. What a figure this is. I can't state it enough. Watch the review on the channel. I prefer this one to the Death Watch Mandalorian from the Mandalorian, in fact, which is saying something because that figure was a contender for Figure of the Year for me at one point. But I love everything about this figure. I love the paint apps. I love all the scarring on his armor and everything. He looks battle hardened. I love the card back there. He looks great. Really, really good one, this one. And it's very, very difficult not to have him in my top 2. So there we go then. That's the Mandalorian Death Watch Airborne Trooper in 3rd place. So let's see who has made it into 2nd and 1st place. Alright then, so in 2nd and 1st place, I have gone for Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul from Mandalore. Now I will be choosing my 1st place out of these two, don't worry, I'm not going to cop out, but I just wanted to show these two together because these two figures are phenomenal figures. They are so good, and the card backs are great as well, and they just go together. Look at them, they're in kind of the same pose. Darth Maul looks phenomenal. Ahsoka looks great with her 2 lightsabers, and the 2 figures are just next level figures. This was the start of it this year really for me. These 2 figures, when these 2 figures came out, I thought we are going to the next level in terms of 3 3/4 inch figures. The articulation's fantastic. Everything about these 2 figures is amazing. But I do have to pick a 1st place for this video, and out of these 2 I have to sway ever so slightly to Darth Maul. And what really ticks the box for me, this one, is the head sculpt on this figure. The head sculpt on this Darth Maul is just out of this world. The accuracy that they've gone into, it is just phenomenal. Let me just see if I can get a bit of a close-up here with the light, but if you haven't seen the review, go check out the review where you get a nice close-up of the figure. Just an absolutely incredible figure. They've done an amazing job with him, as they have done with Ahsoka. It's very, very difficult to split these 2, but for me, these are top of the list. Very difficult when you do have figures such as the Death Watch Mandalorian and the Super Commando and what have you in the line, because they are incredible as well. But for me, these 2, the hero and the villain, together like that, the card backs just go perfectly together on the wall, and that is why they're my top 2, and Darth Maul inevitably wins it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts and rankings in the comment section below. Let me know what your top 5 are maybe, or something like that. But thank you so much for watching, and also thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Your support means a great deal to me and helps me make more and better videos, so thank you so much. Thank you all for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.